What's up, everybody? Jack Farr here on behalf of Box to Box Football. I'm going to do a tier list video today, and what we're going to look at as we head over to our tier maker here is we're looking at the Manchester City squad for the upcoming summer transfer window, just seeing kind of what they need to do really in terms of the current squad and maybe some players they need to bring in. I've got a few categories here. Number one, keep no matter what, extend contract. I'm sure you know the kind of players that's going to be. Sell for kind of a greater than value. So, for example, if somebody comes in with a huge fee for one of the players, maybe that's worth considering. Sell for the value they're worth. So if somebody comes in with a value that you deem appropriate, sell that. Loaning players out and then releasing or selling for less than the player is worth. So obviously this video is going to be a little different. And I'm going to hopefully have a chance to explain my thought process. We're going to have access to, thank you very much, first of all, to the guys at worldfootball.net for the photos for this tier list, and also, the names and the squad list. And obviously the forever useful transfer marked is what we are going to be really going for here in terms of looking at players' contracts, current value, and just general position within the world of football. So starting, I think you saw kind of a little list in there. We've got Mr. Scott Carson, Premier League vet, 35 years old now. He's going to be 36 this year. I believe his contract comes out at the end of this year. That's right, his contract expires 2021 at Manchester City. I think Scott Carson is kind of an interesting one because obviously he's such a great professional. You'd imagine that he's going to be fantastic in that locker room, in that dressing room, I should say. Getting too Americanized here. But I think we've got to be honest here. Kind of being a positive influence on a dressing room, without that level of actual performance, I don't think Scott Carson is going to be the backup or even the third stringer if a goalkeeper is needed for this Manchester City team. So I think they need to move on here. So it's going to be my first one to release or sell for less than the value. Just get him off the books. Let some new blood come through and move on to somebody else. That other person, of course, this is not something that we need to overly talk too much about, but it is Ederson, the Brazilian goalkeeper. Unbelievably good. Age 27 at this point, worth 50 million. I'd say that's probably about right for a goalkeeper of Ederson's quality. In my opinion, though, getting a goalkeeper, a long-term goalkeeper, for this kind of position, to be good with his feet, to who's learned the Pep Guardiola style, and to continue the consistency that we've had at the position. Certainly, I would say one of the better, if not the best, goalkeeper in the Premier League right now. Excuse me as I sip my coffee. Hands down, reaching probably the best years of his career at this point. This is a very easy keep no matter what, or even extend his contract. I think just to make sure we're doing our due diligence here, contract expires in 2025, his current contract. Obviously, we're 2021 now. He's 27 years old. By 2025, obviously, he's looking at about age 30, 31, 32, in and around there. So his birthday is August, so kind of just before the beginning of the 2025 season, he will be 31. That's got to be a contract extension, but I would say as of right now, obviously there's a lot left there. He would have only signed that recently, I'm sure. Date of last contract extension, 2018. Okay, so actually it was quite a while ago that he signed that contract, so maybe he'll want a bit more money going forward. But I'd say as of right now, he's probably going to be happy, but very easy there to put Ederson, keep no matter what, extend his contract. Moving on to the next one is Zach Steffen. Where is he on this list here? I believe he's there. Zach Steffen is... Obviously, he was signed from the Manchester City, the City Football Group, one of their clubs, I believe. I'm just going to double check here. Let me double check the history here. I just want to make sure. Oh, Columbus Crew. Okay, so I don't believe that's not one of the City Football Group teams. But it was signed from the US. 25 years old. So I guess they must have seen something they really really liked in him. I'll be honest. I really haven't seen him play a great deal. But this is the kind of position I think at this point. I just want to find him here. Is that him? I think that's him. It's kind of interesting at this point. I wouldn't really know what to do. To me, this should be the backup, right? But I would also say that I think it's going to be important. Oh, we've got music starting here, do we? So for Zach Steffen, it's interesting because I think that if you've got a player that you really think is your guy and is going to be your backup, and he's contracted until 2023, you'd think maybe just keep hold of the guy, right? Because he's going to do a job and he's going to be an adequate backup. However, what I would say is if you've signed him for is 6.14 million here at the moment in terms of pounds, but if he can get a few good appearances under his belt, maybe in cup competitions, and somebody comes in and offers 10 or 15 mil, it's maybe worth considering. I think you could very easily get a backup goalkeeper at Manchester City who would do an adequate job. So I think I'm going to put him in the sell for greater than value. His current value, according to Transfermarkt, is £5.4 million. I think that if anybody comes in with offers like 8, 9, 10 million, you've made a good chunk of money there, and then you can bring in another backup goalkeeper who could maybe do a job there. So I think that's quite an easy one. Who did we have here? We had James Trafford, who is another goalkeeper. Yeah, I mean, loan out or maybe even release. As far as I'm concerned, goalkeepers, really you only ever need 2. I mean, I know squads like to have 3, but very, very rarely do the squads ever have an injured starting goalkeeper and an injured backup goalkeeper. So for me, certainly I look at 2 goalkeepers being the necessary amount. Goalkeeper injuries usually aren't too bad, generally speaking. You've never really kind of had, bad muscular injuries or broken bones or anything of that nature. Usually it'll just be a knock or a slight strain. It's not like they're kind of an outfield player who would be expecting an injury. So I think for a young guy who maybe you have hopes for, maybe loan him out, give him a chance to actually play some games at the kind of top professional level. Moving on, we have Nathan Ake. This is kind of an interesting one. I think you guys are probably going to know where this is going to go. Obviously, he's only recently been signed, hasn't played too many games. 36 million value according to Transfermarkt at the moment. Bought for 40.77 million. Man, that was a lot from a team in the Championship. I don't think this is a keep no matter what player. I would say that if somebody's offering closer to that, it's tricky. Because the thing is, he's going to be a good squad player, right? Nathan Ake is going to be a good squad player. He's going to be able to play centre-back, left-back, central midfield. Obviously, learning under Pep Guardiola, you'd imagine he could potentially play even more positions as well. So that's kind of a tricky one, if I'm being honest. But I think that if you can get close to somebody bidding the 40.77 million that was paid for him originally, I think that maybe it's worth considering selling him, just because it's a lot of money to have spent on somebody just sitting on your bench. And, it's not like Manchester City have bad defensive options. They have really good defensive options. So I think you're definitely going to sell for anybody who wants to pay closer to that 40 or 50 mil again. But probably for right now, I think you're going to keep them, right? You're going to keep them in their position. Eric Garcia. Now, I think everybody watching this, I'm sure, knows that he is, I believe, he's in a position where he's already signed a contract on a Bosman with Barcelona. He's had his heart set on a move to Barcelona for a long, long time. Let me double check here. Yeah, so his contract expires in 2021. This one, I kind of was tempted to not include in the list, if I'm being truly honest with you, because it's not quite the position that I think we really need to go for here. Where is he? There he is. For me, this is one that they should have done before, and you just sell for the value of the player. It's clear that he doesn't really see himself having a future at City. You can't sign the likes of Ruben Diaz, Aymeric Laporte, John Stones, and then expect for a player of this nature to come through and really commit himself. Guys, he's been at Manchester City since 2017. He's been there for 4 years now. I just want to see if we can get some appearances here. 3 appearances this year in the Premier League. You'd imagine those are all as subs as well. But this is an £18 million player in terms of the value from Transfermarkt, who is probably going to go back to Barcelona. So to me, this was not good business by City. It seemed like they just were kind of being stubborn just for the sake of it, which I didn't love. Moving on to the next one, quite easy. João Cancelo. You're going to keep this guy no matter what. He's played so well this year. I think that it's really, really important to obviously keep your guys who are playing really, really well and make sure that there's still a really, really firm commitment to players that you have spent a lot of money on. I quite foolishly said when Liverpool won the league that I thought João Cancelo might be the difference because City would have really upgraded that fullback position. I was a big fan of him when he was at Juventus, even though I know he didn't strictly have the time that he maybe wanted there. But yeah, João Cancelo is playing really well. He clearly gets what Pep wants to do. I think it's taken him a little longer, but I think he's really, really in a position now where he can really kick on. He's 26 years old. I just want to see how much longer he's got left on his contract. So yeah, and he's contracted until 2025. Like this is gonna be a really, really important position for this Manchester City team. And they're getting him over the perfect years. Also, his value 32.4 million. The way he's playing right now, you're not selling for that. You'd want kind of Nathan Ake plus money if you were going to sell João Cancelo, and even then, you might even turn it down. So I think João Cancelo is quite an easy one. You're just gonna keep. Next one. Now, this is an interesting one where I think that it might take me a little longer to kind of talk it out of what I would want to do. Aymeric Laporte. What are we going to do with Aymeric Laporte? This, if you guys have been watching James and myself and Timmy for a while, you'll know that I'm such a big fan. I think Laporte is so good. But obviously you can't deny the defensive record this year with Stones and Ruben Diaz, where Laporte really hasn't played too much. That valuation sticks out like a sore thumb. He's still worth 54 million. 26 years old, turns 27 in a couple of months' time, contracted through till 2025. I think you'll see that a lot of these players, it seems to be 2025 seems to be a good cut-off point for a lot of them. What do you do here? It's really, really tricky because if you say you've got your heart set potentially on keeping Nathan Ake because obviously he's only just got to the club and maybe he's earning a little less potentially than somebody like Laporte, then maybe you sell him. You know what I mean? Like if he's not going to be in your plans, but then again you've got this kind of, well, if John Stones gets hurt or Ruben Diaz gets hurt, then maybe you can be in a position where you want to keep the guy and have him as a really, really high quality backup. But as far as I'm concerned, he's kind of too good to be that quality of a backup. Like for me, I think that if a big team offers you 54 million, that you should take it. I don't know if that makes me too crazy, but I think things are going so well at the moment with... Oh, man. I think that things are going so well with... Oh, I've realised as well that Garcia's already going to be released, basically. He's going to join on a Bosman. I think that if a club is dangling £54 million in this kind of COVID transfer market we find ourselves in, are you going to turn that down and hold out for like 60 at the risk of them not offering that again? a backup centre-back for £54 million. I think for me, if a team was offering £54 million for Aymeric Laporte, I would sell. I hate to put this out there, it's kind of the elephant in the room in the centre-back market at the moment, but Dayot Upamecano is going to be earning a lot less money than, Dayot Upamecano is going to be costing a lot less money than what you would potentially sell Laporte for. And then you've got somebody else who can come in who you can maybe make a profit on in the future, who can also push Diaz or Stones or compete with them for a starting centre-back spot as well. So I know you guys might think I'm a bit crazy, and I'm a huge Aymeric Laporte fan, but I look at that and think, you know what? If somebody offers you, regardless of the player or the context, £54 million for a backup centre-back, I think you have to take that. Obviously, you always want more, and you're never going to sell him for less value than that because he's still such a good player and such a good backup, but there's just such an opportunity there to make your money work for you, because the more and more Laporte doesn't play, his value is just going to go down. So that was a really difficult one. I don't know if you guys can tell. I have no notes ready. I'm just kind of doing this off the dome here because I want to just make sure. So next one, another kind of interesting one. Benjamin Mendy, left back. Not really like a Manchester City type of player, I wouldn't think that you would kind of consider, because he's a bit of a character, isn't he? Contract expires 2023. See, that's different. Is he starting many games this year? 6 appearances this year. But that bothers me, the 25.2 million. I wouldn't accept that for Ben Mendy. I still think you need to be playing kind of premium fullback prices there. So I'm going to say that Mendy you sell for greater than value, because he can be a difference maker. When he plays really, really well, which he can, I think Benjamin Mendy can really make a huge, huge difference to the Man City team. I know that right now it's not quite the same, and Zinchenko, who costs a lot less, can do much the same job, to a decent standard as Mendy. But I look at that 25.2 million market value that Transfermarkt have at him. I wouldn't sell Ben Mendy for that. I still think you could easily get 30, 35, maybe even 40 to the right buyer for Ben Mendy. So I think you keep him there. See, now I'm tempted to put Ake and keep him no matter what, because he's good backup and he's just signed. No, I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to go with my gut. See, that also, contract expiring 2023. I know you guys might think, that's a while away, but if they don't sell this year, then next summer it's only a year left on the deal, and you're going to cost less. So I think you sell. Try and sell now, but you try and get more than that 25.1 or whatever it was. 25.2 million for Ben Mendy. Okay, moving on. Ruben Diaz, yeah, easy. Where is he? I think he's the picture I got of him was in his Benfica shirt. There he is. Yeah, keep him no matter what. Guy's been a beast. It's not quite Virgil van Dijk impact, but this is one of the best defensive performances we've seen in a Premier League campaign from any team, really in any era. Probably even going back prior to the Premier League. Unreal. He's an absolute rock star. I did have the opinion that it was going to be Ruben Diaz and Aymeric Laporte, and they were going to be the best centre-back duo in the world. But John Stones has kind of come in. Great to see his resurgence, of course. But yeah, Ruben Diaz is a keep no matter what. The money you'd have to pay Man City now to get him out of there would be, extortionate, record-breaking. So I just think you keep him. That's kind of an easy one. And as much as I want to talk about these fantastic players, and there'll be some coming up here too, some of them aren't that fun to talk about because it's so easy. You just keep them. They're so good, He's still contracted for a while. Let's take a look at John Stones now, because this is interesting. Because the last time he'll have been valued, I think I'm looking on Transfermarkt here, would have been October. So they won't have kind of assessed his more recent performances and the credit he's gotten from the media and just general opinion. Yeah, John Stones, 22.5 million. English, 26 years old. Yeah, contract expires in 2022. You've got to extend John Stones, don't you? you've got to extend his contract. He's going to want a lot more money than maybe was deserving of the more recent years. But the way he's playing right now, you need to extend his contract. You cannot let somebody this summer tempt him with, hey, just wait till January, we'll offer you a really big deal. And I think Stones knows now that this is his real shot to be a real centerpiece for England in the Euros, potentially in Qatar at the World Cup, and to win some Premier Leagues and to maybe get a shot at a Champions League with Man City. So John Stones is an easy one. You're keeping him no matter what. But man, contract expires in 2022. That needs to be sorted out. That's not ideal. Okay, Kyle Walker. See, Kyle Walker's kind of an interesting one. I really like Kyle Walker, but Man City have such good quality fullbacks, and you just wonder with his age. So let's kind of talk this one out. Let's see what we're thinking here. 36 million. He's worth 36 million. Contract expires in 2024. So he's going to be 33 by the time his contract expires. So you're definitely not going to try and offer him a new deal anytime soon. You got João Cancelo there, who's younger, been playing well. Zinchenko we like. Mendy's obviously still there, younger, contracted. Do we think Kyle Walker's been such an impact on this team? In terms of how well he's played for this City team. Man. See, I'm really kind of just trying to talk this out in my head here. If somebody pays 36 million for a 30-year-old, he's going to be 31 in like a few months, Kyle Walker, do you take that and invest it somewhere else and kind of bank on the fact that you have other options at fullback? I'm going to move Mendy up to keep no matter what, because I think that if you're potentially going to sell a 31-year-old Kyle Walker for over 36 million, João Cancelo's your right back, Ben Mendy's your left back. And then you can use that money to maybe sign another fullback that you like, who's a little younger. So I'm going to say, yeah, I mean, I don't love it. I'm not trying to force him out the door, but I think that if an offer comes in for £40 million for a 31-year-old Kyle Walker, I think that you probably have to take that, and then maybe sign a Max Aarons from Norwich if you wanted to make sure that you've still got a homegrown talent there as part of your team. Look around at some, who's our kid, the Chelsea kid who plays at Brighton. Maybe get somebody like that through the door, or just somebody else from Europe potentially that Pep likes. Because, like I say, I don't want to be too harsh on Kyle Walker, but Kyle Walker's greatest asset is his speed. Right? He's really, really, really fast. His recovery tackles are incredible, and even if he's not making tackles, his ability to just recover and get to the forward to prevent a cross or just apply a bit of pressure is incredible. So I think that the right thing to do in a situation like that is to say, right, as he gets older, he's not going to get faster. And that means his biggest strengths, his physical ability, are going to be the ones that fall off first. So I don't know. 40 mil for Kyle Walker, I think you've got to consider that, maybe even accept it. And then I think that puts your position on Mendy differently, because that his stock is low at the moment. You don't want to sell him at this point. And if Kyle Walker does go, maybe you've got a Mendy Cancelo fullback kind of tandem going on, and maybe he can his value can go up. So I'm happy with that. I don't love looking at it, but I think I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, Zinchenko. This is really easy. This might be the easiest one. I think you just keep him, because I think Zinchenko is a really, really good example of a player who, like, I think on any other team, you're going, okay, he's like fine, but he's not going crazy. You know what I mean? Like, he's a product of Pep Guardiola and this Man City team. I don't think he's going to blow anybody away at a different team. And I think that you'll be able to keep him for kind of a cheap-ish amount. He's not going to ask for too much in terms of wages. He's not going to be too upset if he's on the bench. 24 years old. Let's have a look here. Yeah, contract expires in 2024. Market value 18 mil. It's such an easy keep. In every squad, you need players like this who are going to be able to fill a hole, fill a need. Because if I said to you guys, you've got a really, really good professional who doesn't mind being benched, who doesn't ask for too much money, and somebody's offered 20, 25 million for him, and they're worth about 18, you're going to be like, it's not enough money. We've got a guy, I think he's loved in the dressing room as well from everything I've seen. So I think Zinchenko's an easy keep. Okay, moving on to midfielders. Let's look at De Bruyne. I put some of the youth players in, and obviously I really don't know too much about them, so maybe I kind of regret that. I'll probably just stick them all in loan, to be honest. De Bruyne, yeah, easy. Don't need to talk about that. Guy's the best player on your team. I think they're discussing a new contract with him, right? The one thing I think would be interesting, I just want to ask you guys this, depending on how much he's valued, I'm just going to try and tempt some people here. Guys, Kevin De Bruyne is worth £108 million. See, this is why it's interesting to talk these things out. You think he'd be a keep no matter what, because he's arguably the best midfielder in the world. He's amazing. But if somebody offered you 120 mil, and your midfield could be like Rodri, Foden, and then you could use 120 mil to sign somebody you like. Know what I mean? I'm going to start ordering these. I think Zinchenko's an easy keep. Edison's probably an easy keep. Cancelo, Mendy. I'm putting De Bruyne to the bottom of that list purely because, and hear me out, because I know he's really good. I don't want to hear about him kind of not being. It's because I don't like Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne's amazing. He's valued at £108 million. You can't tell me that you wouldn't at least consider maybe I'll sell him for 120 or 150. Some crazy offer of 150 comes in. Because think about it, you then have that amount of money to spend on kind of a younger player. De Bruyne is 29. But he's so integral. Yeah, you've got to keep him. All I'm saying is, if somebody bid 25 million for Zinchenko, with his not needing much money, with his, he's a good guy, he's not going to mind being dropped, he'll play multiple positions, he's just a good professional in general. Zinchenko is just a very, very easy, oh yeah, no, we're keeping him, not even close. De Bruyne, if you said, I don't know, PSG just sold Mbappe and they want to spend 150 million on De Bruyne, he's 29 and he wants 300k a week in wages, you just kind of go maybe we sell him and maybe we find a midfielder we like and we do a Rodri, Foden, and then you can sign somebody else you like from central midfield from any team, because you know that whatever player you bring in is going to cost less than Kevin De Bruyne is going to sell for. So I know it sounds crazy, but De Bruyne, you've got to consider that at his age, with the money he wants. I still think you keep him, but I just think that it's a lot of money. 150 mil, 130 around there. That's a lot of money potentially to get for a player. That's interesting. I honestly didn't think it would go that way, but there you go. Now, here's a really interesting one. And like I said, I'm kind of glad I didn't do my notes here because it just makes for kind of an interesting conversation. Fernandinho. 35, worth 3.6 mil, contract expires at the end of the year. What do you try and do? This is not a guy who's going to fall off drastically. You know what I mean? Like, this is not a guy who's going to really struggle and not play football well just because he's 36 instead of 35. I'd offer him a year contract extension. Because what are you gonna do? You're gonna sell him for 5 mil. He's worth 3.6 mil according to Transfermarkt. What, you're gonna sell him for 5 mil? He's probably a great dressing room presence, leads by example, experienced, Brazil international, or previously a Brazil international. He's been at the club 7, 8 years now. I think you'd try and offer him a 1 year deal because I don't know what the deal would be with his family or anything going on, but maybe he'll want to stay in England and maybe he'll go to a Chelsea or an Arsenal or a Manchester United or even a Liverpool. If Wijnaldum goes and Liverpool see an opportunity to give Fernandinho a year contract, I think you've got to try and keep him for a year. Just so that, as things work out with Foden and Rodrigo and De Bruyne signs his contract, I think he's just a good, steady presence there. Right, Phil Foden. Easiest one of the day. I'm going to put him up here. This is like the reason why he's top of that list, he's the focal point of the future of Man City. It's really cool. I absolutely love it. To be honest, I had some doubts that he'd get there. I know that, Pep was telling him, be patient, be patient, be patient. When he played, I just didn't see enough, apart from just him being a neat and tidy footballer. But this year, he's proven to be so much more. And I think the last time Transfermarkt did like an update on their values was before he played well. He's still worth 54 million. Like, I don't care. If somebody's offering 80 million, I don't think I would accept that at Man City. That's easy for me. Keep no matter what, no questions asked there. Gundogan, another easy one. Well, say that. Let's have a look. Because Gundogan, I don't know what his contract status is right now. He's 30. And I'm keen to not be... I don't want to be, prisoner of the moment. You know what I mean? Let's have a look here. 36 million value. Contract's up in 2023, so it'd be 32. But the way he's playing, he's not overly reliant on his physical ability as he gets older. Yeah, I think you keep him, don't you? But yeah, no, you keep him. I was kind of weighing up in my head of, what happens if somebody offers you what happens if somebody offers you 40 mil for him? But the way he's playing right now, you just keep him, don't you? I'm going to go De Bruyne, and I think Fernandinho for a year. I'll stick him there. Yeah. Man, not many sales here, but I think you guys can see at this point that obviously within football, you're not selling everybody. You're keeping a hell of a lot of your core. And these kind of two here, sell for value or sell for above value it's only if these offers come in. If somebody wants to bid 50 mil for Ake, if somebody wants to bid 40 mil for Walker, but if they don't, these players stay up here. You know what I mean? Football is it's not an easy just do it. It's very reliant on the market and who you have available to you. Rodri. So this is kind of an interesting one because he's very important. The comparisons of this is Pep's Busquets, modern day Busquets and stuff. I just feel like contract expires in 2024. If somebody offers you 60, 70 mil for Rodri, are you taking that? I'm going to put all these kids in here because I don't know enough about them. I kind of feel bad, but I don't know enough about them. I kind of wish I hadn't included them, to be honest with you. I really just don't know enough about them. So we got the Guerrero, Silva. Yeah, okay. I think you probably keep him because his value is just going to go up. He's not going to stop playing And even next year, he's still got 2 years left on his deal. He paid 56.43. It's not like his value's gone up too crazy. He does do a good job. Who's going to pay that for a player like Rodri? Yeah, I think you do keep him. You keep him, don't you? I think he's probably at this point just a bit more valuable than maybe he's there next to Edison. Yeah. Rodri's a really great player. I think for me, the problem is, and I've tried to speak with James and Timmy about this over the years. If Lionel Messi is in his prime, but PSG offer you £999 trillion, okay, yeah, I'm doing that on purpose to prove a point. You take that. You take that. You can build 100 new stadiums. You can sign a whole squad. You can pay wages to anybody. You can do anything, and all they have is Messi, right? Messi is ridiculous, and like I say, I've said this before, most talented player we've ever seen, right? Unbelievable. But everybody has their price. Now, no club is capable of paying 999 trillion, but I'm just using it as an example. It's why I've considered Kevin De Bruyne. It's why I've considered Rodri. You think, oh no, you keep them hands down. If somebody pays you 150 million for Kevin De Bruyne, and then you can sign some what's the kid's name? Camavinga from the French league, that Eduardo Camavinga. And you can sign him, and then maybe someone else. I don't know. It's worth considering, and it's worth talking about. You're signing younger players. Maybe you'd sell him to a foreign league. I don't know. These players are going to earn less money. I don't know. It's just worth talking about. Sometimes it's not worth talking about. But with some of the players it is. And Rodri, 60, 70 million pound offer for Rodri from one of the Spanish teams. Worth talking about, at least. Okay. Interesting one now. Sergio Aguero. Now, I believe I don't need to search this, but I think Aguero... Man, I'm burping like crazy here. I'm sorry, guys. Aguero is out of... Man, these ads kill me. Aguero's out of contract. Aguero doesn't play football anymore because he's hurt all the time. He's probably on a lot of money. Okay. I don't think you're going to make money from Aguero at this point. I think he has to go here. Because I don't know if he's going to sign a new deal. And then if he does sign a new deal, how much is he going to be on? Is he going to even play because he's hurt all the time? I'm going to put Aguero there. Potentially an unpopular opinion. I think Aguero's kind of done. I think he's burnt out. He's played top level football for club and country, European competitions, you name it, for over a decade now. And yeah, he's burnt out. His body can't kind of deal with it anymore. And I just think that what you're going to do, sign him for a couple of years and then sell him to like a few million to some team who don't want to pay a big transfer fee but can afford his wages. I think it's better to just let him go. Give him a testimonial. This is, arguably the most important name in your club's history at this point in terms of, the Premier League title, beating United on the last day with that Aguero, that crazy goal. But I think, time's just kind of come. He's probably on loads of money, and I just think Man City need new blood at the striker position. They really, really do. Honestly, it's kind of an easier decision there for me. Okay, moving on to the next one. Bernardo Silva. Oof, okay, interesting. I love me some Bernardo Silva. It's kind of a weird one, though, because it's not like he is the most pivotal player in the team. I remember thinking at one point, man, this City team, with Bernardo Silva is so good, unbelievable. Goals and assists, not up to it this year. 1 goal, 1 assist, 16 appearances. If somebody offers you 70 plus million for Bernardo Silva, do you take that? You know what I mean? He's been there since 2017. But for me, he starts every game, and he's like a huge, huge part of the team. And that's who we're talking about here. We're not talking about Neil Pep. Yeah, you can, man. Can you sign a Leon Bailey or a Jadon Sancho back if you sell somebody like Bernardo Silva? That's my only question. Are you going to get better value if you sell Bernardo Silva for 75, 80 million? You'll have made a, 30, 40 million? Yeah, 30, 35 million profit. I think he's so good, though. I think you sell him for greater than value. I think that if somebody comes in and offers you 80 million, 75, 80 million for Bernardo Silva, I think you accept that. And you can put that towards a different player. I don't love it, which is why I think he's probably closer up here. Like he's definitely closer to, being kept. But I just don't think he's performing like the way maybe you would want him to. Although I love him to pieces. It's a tricky one. Ferran Torres, man, this has been disappointing, hasn't it? I mean, Mane's so much better. It's such a glaring difference, this kind of, because everyone's always going to compare these two. He's 20, just signed, and he's been okay. I think you've got to keep him. Like no one's gonna. Where am I gonna put him? He's kind of like. Probably just a bit more important than Fernandinho at this point, I would say. But I think you've got to keep him. You need to let him blossom into what he can. I'm sure Pep has like more of a long-term plan for him there. He's contracted for a long time. He's not just going to want to leave. Teams are going to be thinking, why are you getting rid of him? Why would you be getting rid of him here? Straight away. Even if you sold him for more than 45 million. I mean, like, let's not get it twisted here. You paid 20. Actually, that's not too bad. 20.7 million paid for him. I thought it was more. Man, so 20.7. If an offer comes in for over 45 or even 45, I think you probably accept it. I think for more than you accept it. If you bought him for 20 and within a year you can make 30 mil profit, I think you accept that offer. He's not set the world alight, has he? If we're being totally honest. I think you sell him for greater than, and no one's going to bid that. But I'm happy for him in that spot. Like, somebody comes in with 50 million, it's worth considering for sure. 45, though, I think you'd consider it too. Yeah, you'd consider it. I'm putting him down there. Laporte's lonely in the sell for value column. Gabriel Jesus. Right. This is going to be very interesting because I don't rate Gabriel Jesus. I don't think he's that good. So I think that depending on his market value, oh my God, I've just seen it. Yeah, you're selling this guy. You're selling this guy immediately. But what I want to see is how much they bought him for initially. 28.8. Yeah, you're selling this guy. Contract expires 2023. It's just not good enough to play for this team. I don't know what else to say. This you sell for value. I'd even sell maybe for less, but they won't. So I'm going to put him in sell for value. You sign him for 28.8 million in 2017. 4 years ago, he's worth 54 now, according to Transfermarkt. Right. If somebody offers 54 million for Gabriel Jesus, you accept it. Even less, I think you consider it. Even if it's 50, I think you consider it. I think that's part of the reason why I'd even consider him going down here. No, I'll leave him up there because you need somebody up there. You can't just sign a whole range of new strikers. It's not really that possible. But you're not going to extend his contract, are you? Like, you're just not. I mean, Man, it's a hard one. It's a hard one. I'm going to say sell for value. I don't think he's good enough. I think City needs to sign a striker. That's what I'll say kind of at my conclusion bit. I just want to see how far along we are here in this video. 54, okay. Yeah, okay. Moving on. Mahrez and Sterling. Mahrez doesn't look like a guy who cares. That's what bothers me. I know he's a very good player, but he doesn't look like a guy who cares, which I don't love. Man, I can't believe he cost 61 million. Woo! 30 soon. Who's paying for Mahrez? I don't think anybody is. I think if somebody comes in with, I'm going to put him there. I think if somebody comes in with an offer of like 50 mil or more, I think you take it. You know, he's going to be 30. I know that's not like, you know, rest in peace for forwards, but I don't look at a guy who's like a real kind of killer who's going to, you know, bleed for the shirt. And he's not even done badly this year. 16 appearances, 5 goals, 2 assists. You know, he's done okay. You know, City need to really do something about their forward position. And you know, maybe that's going to be underpinned by Messi and a new striker. 2023, you're not going to sign him to a new deal. But you need, you know, he's good squad cover. They shouldn't have paid 61 million for him, that's all I'll say. He's not been worth that at all. Sterling, very, very easy. Obviously, I want to do my kind of due diligence here, but I think this is a pretty straightforward one here. You know, you're keeping Raheem Sterling. Like, let's be honest. Like, I know 99 mil, and if somebody offers 120 and all that stuff, but yeah, you're keeping this guy. This guy's, you know, so important to your team. Great professional off the field. He's been a fantastic sign. Great value too. 57.33 mil 6 years ago now. Wow. Now, worth about 100. You'd have to pay so much more than that. So he's going right up here. I think he's like kind of like Ruben Diaz level of important right now, I think. So, guys, there's my list. Let me know what you think. These are just all youth players. I'll be honest. I kind of wish that I got rid of that list. It's kind of stupid, to be honest with you, because I really don't know any of these players. I know Lucas Nemecha is one who's got some potential going forward. But yeah, here's my squad. So sell or kind of sell for less than the value, or just release. Obviously, we've got Scott Carson. You know, time's coming to an end there of his career. Eric Garcia, what's to be believed is, you know, he's going to go to Barcelona. Aguero, like I said, it just feels like it's over for me for Aguero and Man City. Loaning out as all those youth kids. Sell for value. These are mainly guys who I just think are in a position who, you know, if Laporte was starting, you're keeping him no matter what. But I just don't think you can have a backup centre-back, and if a club comes in and offers you £54 million for him, that you can turn that down. I just don't think so. Name any other club where that would happen, you know. Ferran Torres hasn't set the world alight, and I think if you can make a quick 30 million profit in 1 year, then you do. And Gabriel Jesus, similar kind of thing. I just don't think he's good enough. If somebody wants to pay 55 million for him, then go for it. The one thing I'll say though, guys, is look, these two columns here are only based if the offer comes in, right? If somebody's going to come in for Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, Zach Steffen, Ake, Walker, Laporte, Ferran Torres, Gabriel Jesus, if they're coming in for all of them, obviously you change the way you approach things. You're not going to sell, how many is that? 8 of your kind of more well-known players for that amount. It's only if the right offer, you know, good offer comes in for them. And it won't. You know, nobody's paying 40 or 50 mil for Kyle Walker. No one's going to pay that for Nathan Ake. No one's paying a ridiculous amount for Zach Steffen or Mahrez or any of these guys. It's on the just if. That's all you're doing it there for. It's just a consideration. Keep no matter what, to me, is a very easy list. Honestly, De Bruyne was tricky. I'm not kidding. De Bruyne was tricky. So was Mendy, to be fair. That's why they're kind of more down the bottom. But yeah, Foden, Ruben Diaz, Sterling, Zinchenko, Edison, Rodrigo, Cancelo, Stones needs a new deal, Gundogan, Fernandinho with a 1-year extension. And yeah, Mendy, I just think that, because he's younger, because Cancelo can play right back, Mendy can play left back, if the right offer comes in for Walker. And then De Bruyne, I'm just putting it out there. If somebody pays a catastrophic amount of money for De Bruyne in a pandemic market, I just think it's worth talking about and worth talking through and considering. Kevin De Bruyne might have his own aspirations and goals. He may want to play for other teams. He may want to run out in Spain. He may want to do some of this other stuff. Guys, let me know what you think. This is my first kind of tier list video. I don't know if you like it or not. I'm planning on doing it with a couple of other teams. Tell me if you disagree with any of these as well. Like I said, the one thing I don't want to get kind of twisted in my explanation here is the sell for greater than value and sell for less than value, guys. It's only if those offers come in. You're not forcing them out the door. It's unlikely that people are going to want to pay more than the market price for those guys in the sell for greater value list. But if they do, I'm just saying it's worth considering and probably worth accepting as well. Let me know what you think of the video. One thing I will just get to, I guess, now before I do my ending is my conclusion. Looking at this, what's the kind of thing that stands out? Well, the thing that stands out to me is that there's got to be something happening in the kind of forward positions here. Okay, Aguero and Jesus I both had in kind of lower tiers of sell for value for Jesus and just release or sell for his less than his value for Aguero. Man City need to sign a striker. I don't know if they want to try and go for Erling Haaland at some point. I don't know if I saw rumours today about going for Lukaku, maybe. Lautaro Martinez, I know, is obviously going to be a potential option for them there as well. And there's plenty of other positions where plenty of other strikers who you might go, maybe that could work for City, or maybe that could work for City. I just think that some serious investment needs to be made there. Messi might be coming in. Kylian Mbappe might be available, right? There's so many potential outcomes here. And I think that if you clear the way for a couple of, members of kind of an attacking trio or attacking talent coming through the door, then they have to be considered. That's what Man City have to do. Try and keep hold of the midfield. Try and keep hold of the defence, the goalkeeper. I don't think there's any major issues there. Sell players if you think you're getting a really, really good deal on selling a player. Bernardo Silva for 80 mil. Mahrez for 50, Zach Steffen for 10 or 15, Ake for 50, Walker for 40 or 50, Laporte for 55, Ferran Torres for 45, 55, whatever, Jesus for 55. But apart from that, the squad's in actually really good shape. They just need that forward option to bang in these goals and help with the fantastic defensive effort that we've had already. I'm going to try and edit this. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm not much of an editor myself. But guys, let me know what you think. Agree, disagree, let me know in the comments. Let me have it if you think me having Aguero being released is crazy, and keeping hold of Ben Mendy is crazy. I want to hear your thoughts. But until next time, we'll see you.